Okay. Yes, that is apparently the arresting statement.
My Lord, I object.
Hello?
My Lord, I object on the basis of fairness, that the witness cannot be referred to the statement that was made by the arresting officer.
Which statement must he be referred to?
The statement that has just been read into the
Yeah, I hear you.
It was made by the
Arresting officer.
Arresting officer, not in front of this witness. He has no knowledge of the statement.
No, fine. I never said he has knowledge of whatever. I just said, where is the arresting statement? Mr. Sebande, hello, just stand up. You told this court that there is an arresting statement. Hello?
Yes, because he requested for it.
I'm not involved in wanting somebody to go to jail. Now, after that, Mr. Sibia says, no, if you can show me that arresting statement, if you can show it to me. Then I said, where is it? Apparently he had given it to the lady there. Took time to get it. After he gets it, I say, apparently this is what they say is the arresting statement. And then I read it into the record. That's all I did.
Lord,
and you say it's unfair.
My Lord, with due respect, my Lord, I understand what the Lordship is...
Don't accuse me of being a crook.
No, my Lord, I'm not...
No, just listen to me. You must never. I've been 50 years in the profession. I've never been accused of being a crook.
My Lord, I'm not accusing this
What are you accusing me of?
But, my Lord, I am asking this court to listen to this. The accused, when he said, unless if I can be showed a statement wherein I was arrested.
I'm stopping it here. I'm just going to drag a bit backward. Okay. I want Real Mastermind to hear something. There is another click sound that comes out there.
To me, you must never. I've been 50 years in the profession. I've never been accused of being a crook.
My Lord, I'm not accusing this.
What are you accusing me of?
But, my Lord, I am asking this court.
Did you guys hear that click sound? But let me just allow it is.
To listen to this. The accused, when he said, unless if I can be showed a statement wherein I was arrested on that day. Then my question is, my Lord, the statement that has been presented, my Lord, to the accused, is not the statement that was made by the accused. It was made by the arresting officer.
Nobody said the accused made an arresting statement. He's not a policeman. What are you saying?
As the court is.
Oh, it's long since man. Just wait, Mr. Just sit down.
Masterminds, we are back with part 2 of our edition. We told you that we are going to come back to do our analysis on past appearances, and on this one we are going to zoom in on Judge Ratha's behavior in court towards the defense. Jabs, I heard that click very well. It was like it was clear. It was clear.
Yes. So now we'll play the real clip that we are actually here for. But I think for us, this was just very important that we start on the click sound. Yes. Because once you listen to the click sound, it stays on your mind. We remember Mom Maria McCabe.
Yeah.
It stays with you. And we've heard even himself, all right, sometimes he will play with the pen.
Irritation.
Now, what is
irritation? Sometimes he will just, the pen will be like something like that.
Yes, and what people don't understand, or what probably real masterminds are very smart, they know that when you're studying communications, there is a section, they speak about forms of communication. They say that if you see a huge corner office on the top floor of the building, they say automatically your mood when you get in there will change because you know that should be a boss's office, basically. When you see people how they dress, when you look at their facial expression on how people are doing things, we are being told that most of the time when a particular evidence that relates to an accused person before the judge normally pays attention to the reaction of the accused person when certain things are done to see whether is he going to pick up an element of reaction. Of which that, strange enough, with Ratha, we have actually experienced him where if recall a video to be played back when there was a sign that was shown by the accused person. There was also an instant where the Inyanga, Baba Zwane, says, because Baba Zwane never said anything, but then Ratha brought us back there. He says, yeah, I'm not going to consider Baba Zwane because Baba Zwane, he must have been threatened. So he, the judge, made an allegation where there was no communication of a sign of anything towards Baba Zwane, but then he brought that inference that Baba Zwane's change of when he cracked under cross-examination, Baba Zwane, then the state realizes that that witness is actually a witness that is his information is in favor of the accused person, but it's Ratha that
Now come
brought us
and change the
yes.
narrative.
Yes. So that's what then takes us to this part of recording now, where Elton Hart is actually talking about how the judge is actually getting too involved. Let's listen, Suspect, with your permission.
What do you make of this issue of the notes and an actual written statement not presented or attached with this typed statement?
Now, when one looks at it, and the defense is right, when there's a written statement that is taken down by the hand of a witness, that statement, if they retype it over because it might be illegible at the time when it's going to be used at trial, the state is obliged to make available that handwritten statement plus the typed version to the defense teams as well, because they're going to rely on that. And the witness, from the translations that we heard, he said that he made a statement, he wrote it out by himself, and he's a police officer, he could not have been confused. Now, I think here the judge is giving some protection to the prosecuting authority, and even going as far as to saying that the defense is saying or attacking the integrity of Mr. Baloy. The thing for me was the defense just said, there is a statement, it might either be in the possession of the state or the witness itself, but between them, because they're on the same team, they should be actually giving, and he even go as far as saying that the state cannot, or the prosecutor cannot be the attorney for the witness. The prosecutor brought that witness there as his witness. He is the attorney for the public, for the citizens of this country. So the judge was sort of handling the prosecutor with nice, cozy gloves and trying to be harsh on the defense. And I think, for me, the judge should now, at some stage, realize that he's entering too much into the arena and let them actually put their arguments forth and not help the state out of prickly pears when it suits him.
Okay, let's take a listen at this moment, because Advocate Mnisi, and he's not the only one, Advocate Mshololo also wanted the court to replay the record so that the court could hear the witness actually saying that he indeed had a written statement. Let's take a listen at this.
I would therefore request, my lord, that the court grants us the indulgence and instruct the state to give us, as per this witness's testimony, the original, handwritten version of the statement. That would be my submission.
That dismissal was also meted out against Advocate Mshololo, the judge going as far as saying, well, I believe you. And so that record was not played out in court. Is that unusual? Because he relied on that piece of information to come to the conclusion that the state did nothing wrong.
Yeah, and for me, that is why I'm saying that the judge should now at some stage realize the judicial officer needs to be impartial and he needs to conduct, because this is something that can be prejudicial to the defense and to the accused persons. Why, if you say there's nothing that he comes to a conclusion to say that there is no handwritten statement, while the witness said he made a handwritten statement. So what the witness saying, and then he even go as far to say that the credibility of the witness. Now I think already he's saying to us, looking at the trial, that that is a credible witness. He cannot make a credibility finding at that. It means that this accused in his eyes is already guilty. And for me, that is a sign of a judge that is not partial at this point in time. I'm very worried for the accused that I will see them getting found guilty and not being given a fair trial at this point in time. Because what I'm seeing for the past couple of days, and I've been seeing this trend, when the defense normally raises an issue, the judge is quick to shut them down and to say, no, and it's overriding them. Instead of being cordial, this is officers of the court as well. Listen to them and actually allow them to speak, not just cut them off. Because when the prosecutor speaks, he's not being cut off. He's being given ample time to elaborate and canvass his points. So for me, I'm worried about how the judge is handling. People might say, yes, it's getting to the point. The previous judge, Maumela, was not. But I'm also seeing some prejudice somewhere lurking there from the judge towards the defense and how they cross-examine and put their defense across. And they are being limited actually to canvass their defense completely with the state witnesses.
It's also unusual, Elton Hart, that the judge had a judgment. It was quite lengthily typed out, highlighted. There were some notes that were made on it before he could even hear from the witness who came back from KwaZulu-Natal. He didn't even know whether he would have these notes or not have these notes. Is that unusual?
That is highly unusual. How can a judge have a typed out version of a judgment, not even having heard to see, did you find the notes? Did you search? To do a preliminary inquiry, for me, that screams impartiality from the judge's side. And I don't want to talk about the judge's integrity and stuff like that, but for me, those little things, it builds up, and to say that you are not giving the accused a fair chance in actually putting their defense, and actually now the accused must build a defense as the case progresses, as the prosecutor decide. Who knows, tomorrow the prosecutor might come with another witness that he says, because of security reasons, it was not disclosed, and now they need to come and answer to that evidence that will be placed on the table. That's not a fair trial to me. Definitely not.
You speak of not a fair trial. Let's hear what Advocate Nshololo on behalf of accused number 5 had to say.
I'm referring to the type 1.
Oh, the type statement,
yes.
not the written statement. Okay.
Yes, my lord. I'm referring to the type 1. I want to address his lordship regarding the prejudice. Because...
No, you know what? You're putting the cart before the wagon, or the horses before the cart and the wagon. We are here conducting an inquiry whether there is a written statement. That's what this case is, this inquiry is about. I've given you the leeway to compare what is in this written statement and what is supposed to be in the, what is in the type statement as opposed to what should be in the written statement. You can't do that. Logically you can't do that, because we only have one statement in court at the moment. Is that not so?
One submission, my
Yes,
lord. Just one. My lord, my submission is that accused number 5 will suffer prejudice if he continues cross-examination without having the original statement of this statement.
Yes, you are correct. That's why this court went out of his way to make an order that this witness should go and fetch all those statements or communications or notes. Because Mr. Baloyi says he does not have a written statement made by this witness. And I'm aware of the prejudice. That's why this court, in evening the playing fields, made that order.
Elton Hart, what options are available for the defense?
Sure.
Jobs. The defense is going to cruise at the appeal court. Did you hear what Elton had said? He said there was already a written judgment before Zungu could even come back with a written statement. Judge Ratha already had his judgment written. I also believe, you know what I also believe? I also believe there's already a judgment. You just need a date and a signature. That's what I believe. And I have the right to my opinion.
Suspect, real mastermind must remember that we don't sit down, we don't have script about what am I gonna say and what you're going to say.
I see we have lost Njab's again there. Njab's network, we have lost you again. And let me just proceed where I left off. I don't believe the defense is going to drag this case out like the state did. Should Ratha dismiss the Section 174 application, the defense will call the most crucial witnesses and they will close the case. And then, as I said, I believe there's already a judgment. That's what I believe. Based on Judge Ratha's behavior in court towards the accused persons, towards the defense. Based on the fact that in the trial, within the trial, Ratha already had a written judgment and he defended the same Zungu who said that he had written notes somewhere. And then Ratha said, no, there's no written notes. We are not going to work on written notes because there's no written notes. And he didn't even give the defense a chance to interrogate Zungu on his written notes. He forced the defense to accept the typed affidavit. And I already made peace with the fact that the judge and the state doesn't want the truth to be revealed in this case. I'm not the only one who's seeing it. Me and Jabs have been over this on several occasions. We've been here telling people what we think, and we are really not here to force anyone to agree with us, because in South Africa, it's a democratic country. Everyone and anyone say, do, and believe what makes them happy, what makes them sleep better at night. Because at the end of the day, it's all about our conscience. If you are going to believe, or if you are going to push for these 5 accused persons to go to jail, although your conscience tells you that they are not part of this, you are the one who have to live with your conscience at the end of the day, not me. You. Jabs, I just kept the conversation going because I lost you, so you are back.
Yes, thank you, Suspect. I was just saying that the only guide that one will share is that there's a topic or there's a video, and then we come here and share our own opinions about that particular discussion, or even sometimes where you've got a piece that you've received from from somewhere, wherever you got it, and you ask me to look at it. Suspect, this part is emotional that we're going to talk about in relations to that statement by Judge Ratha. Remember, earlier on we play an altercation between Mshololo's objection and the click sound. And the click sound. Now, with what we know now, you and me and Real Mastermind, is that did Zungu really go to KZN? The answer is no. Did Zungu had a statement prior to that? The answer is no, because there was no statement. But what they went to court with, they went to court with suspect, with the notion that there is an informer by the name. We must thank Ngomezulu for exposing this name of Absalom Zungu. When Kinina was cornered, he was faced to actually mention this Absalom Zungu. And most of the statements that Kinina has took from witnesses, those witnesses have passed on. They only left Kinina. He's the one that you had to talk about. But suspect what is important and very painful now with what we know. We know that Baba Zungu said he's scared because his son, as well as Kininda, he feels that his life is in danger because of those two people. Now, if we take Real Mastermind, we take what we know now from Baba Zungu, and that conversation of the existence of a written statement by hand and the statement of this, what did that mean? Was it the time that Baba Zungu speaks about that? My son called me, I am with? Oh my goodness.
Is that time when the planning started, when they were in a corner, when they needed a written statement, and when Baba Zungu said to his son, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved, and we must really, wherever Advocate Ngomezulu may his soul rest in peace, he's the one who brought the name of Absalom Zungu. Remember what Baloy said. I said, Advocate Ngomezulu brought the name of Absalom Zungu. The defense must lay in the bed of roses. So we decided to say, oh, okay, fine. Our bed of roses has been made. We will lay in it. And God willing, everything that happens is not coincidence. God willing, Baba Zungu, Advocate Ngomezulu passed away, having exposed that somewhere out there's a Mr. Absalom Zungu. And remember what he said. Remember what Ngo said. He said, I'm going to call Absalom Zungu. And Aloy comes and he said, no, let the defense lay in the bed of roses they were made by Advocate Ngomezulu. Now Baba Zungu's now here. Who's now going to lay in the bed of roses? Because we know for a fact Zungu didn't go to KZN to fetch a written statement because there was no written statement. Instead, they wanted to draw his father into this mess that he created with him.
No, suspect, thanks for covering that point. You know what? For 1 minute I was shaking because I met Baba Zungu. I sat with Baba Zungu. I have, when I hear that now, it brings to me suspect because he says during the time when his boy was still testifying, he said, I am with my son. I am with his son called him. He said, I am with Kininda. Please come here alone in a field in Utrecht, in the farm. And he even said, even people who were with him at the time, because the phone was on speaker, they even warned Absalom. Zungu says, stay far away from your son. So, does it mean that? Because let me unpack this pet one thing. Sipiwe, is it Sipiwe? But all the witnesses that Kininda took the statement, it's either they discharged early in jail and then they've passed on. It's only Kininda that is left with that statement. He's the one that came to court and says, I took the statement. I know it's true and it's a reflection of the truth. Now, on this one, you see, that breaks his pet. That weekend that Ratha said, it's like, I am entitled to this analysis, pet. It's going to shock you, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Ratha gave us a click sound, and Ratha said, Mshololo accused him of being a crook. There was no way that Mshololo was mentioning anything of crooked of any nature. Mshololo was just using the legal frameworks to raise objections about a legal context of whatever that they're talking about. But this concept of being a crook, and then Ratha then allows people, he refused them to play the record, and then he asked whether, did you go home? So going home was just to go and delete. That is what came to my mind. Because I met Baba Zungu. He shared with me certain sensitive things. So that weekend was meant for Zungu to go home and delete his father, so that when Kininda comes, he's going to have only this one statement. Because now, Zungu's statement never existed, suspect. The Zungu constable statement never existed. It was fabricated in that office. Part of the fabrication involved Zungu and Kininda himself to write another statement as if his father wrote. So now when I'm analyzing that suspect, I am sadly getting to a point where I think Ratha here was saying, go and delete anything that needs to be deleted so that we can hear you alone and Kininda. God said no. God said no, suspect.
You know what? When you are going so deep into this, Jobs, actually really true. It's true. The only living person who ever affidavit from Kininda in that court is Baba Zungu.
And the case is centered around the key witness, which is Absalom Zungu, who's the one that joined the dot on the cold case. But the same court, when Makubo says, how is it possible that the docket can be called when we're still holding it in our hands?
Hot. When did it become a cold docket? Because it was never closed. It was never closed. The docket is still in their hands. They have finalized the investigation. How possible did the docket now become cold?
And on the King David show, there is Tabang Tabang Buhopa. Sorry, Tabang, please excuse me if I'm zoomifying, if I'm zoomifying.
You will forgive us. You will forgive us.
Yeah. So, but he tells us about Roy Dockett. He says you go back every year and say and make a note. But what we've been hearing in the last 10 years, every anniversary, the police will talk something about Senzo Mewa case. Isn't that what that detective Tabang was explaining to us, that so that you need to, it's a target that you must do something on the dockets that are not moving until somebody comes and create this fabrication. Because this fabrication in 2019, when Ginin and Constable Zungu are teaming up to create a person that doesn't, yes.
To go,
and then they named the person about Absalom Zungu.
Yes. To go prison to prison to prison with Zandile Kumalo to point out innocent people, and then when they don't fit the narrative anymore, they will go to another prison, they do the same thing. And how can you live with your conscience when you are there? Even Zandile Kumalo, you know what, Zandile Kumalo went along with Ininda, never knowing that her sister will later become the mastermind. She didn't know that Ininda is going. He didn't tell her that I'm going to change the script along the way. She is the one who put her sister in this predicament of being the mastermind to death.
No, it didn't even stop there. She, Lorraine, didn't know that Baloyi at some point in court is going to say, your story about the phone being under the stove and everything, we know that you had ulterior motives around that. That's what happens when, hence, Kelly will call this thing rubbish. But we've been saying all along that taxpayers' money is being wasted with that non-existing evidence that is presented to us as if we must actually believe it. I refuse to suspect.
Now the role players in this are Zungu, Linda, Tumelo, Sandy. They are the ones that they are the writers of the script. They are the writers of the script. Now the script is not scripting anymore because Baba Zungu came forward. And Baba Zungu said, my conscience will not allow. Yo, I'm even going cold about what you said, that the only reason Baba Zungu was called, the only reason Ininda and Zungu went back to KZN and called Baba Zungu to meet them alone in a deserted field was to delete him. And he said it with his own mouth. And that just to fit the narrative of Dininda, because as Baba Zungu also said, there was talks about promotion. There was talks about a lot of money. People laughed at Ntanzi when Ntanzi said, they offered me 3 million. And people ask, where does 3 million coming from? I watched that podcast of King David with Tabang. Tabang is also a former police officer. He left because of this corruption. And he also said there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in the Secret Service account. And that money are not being used for the purpose that is intended for. It's being used for these purposes. Of Dininda.
I think now,
okay,
because you're saying there's a lot of money in court, I want to tell you something. Anything that has to do with General Nklameza, sometimes South African government, they have actually stopped. There's no link now. This link is corrupted. But this is what is happening, Sispet. I need you because we are specifically talking about this case that involves Ratha. And we also know that Ratha convicted Mdluli. And we also know that there was a person who was Kolben Mashiho.
Warrant of
It was
a
gunned down. Yes, it was a Hawks official. He was gunned down at the airport by another police officer. There were 3 people that shot. The fight was about drugs. Because we were following, he had registered to us a lead that he is tracking some other people. Me and Captain Makafula, we were shocked when we see this thing because even their police vehicles, when we're tracking them, suspect, they had very strange number plate the day before that led to the actual shooting. But what I'm trying to say is, suspect, is that this name, Kolben Masheho, Hawks official, this name, suspect, you'll see what's going to happen on the newspaper. Because that name, and Mdluli, and Sibi, and Ratha, because suspect, I'm wagging a finger. I'm saying that name, suspect. I met that guy. I followed and I traced this thing of the drugs of his. I was suspect. Footage is at that court. The footage is at OR Tambo.
Wow.
Suspect. That name. And then we're questioning the behavior
of
the judge.
In the trial of a high-profile soccer player. We question the behavior of a judge in the trial of a high-profile soccer player. But 2 police officers have analyzed one another because of substances.
Yes. And
what is happening inside SCPS, in the courts, in the NPA, it's much worse than what General Mkonazi tried to tell everyone. A lot is going to be exposed. A lot is going to be exposed. As Njab said, names are going to be exposed. But all we know is we will be here assisting the defense so that we can find justice. Our conscience are not going to allow us to send innocent people to jail while the masterminds are in the police, are in the judiciary, are in the NPA. Masterminds will be here exposing those masterminds. And we will do it with your support, mastermind, because when you come in, please do what you do best. Like, share, subscribe, and become members of the real masterminds, because together we will expose the criminal masterminds. Jabs, thank you so much for another great edition. Until we meet again, let's give our viewers what our viewers deserve. Have a great one. Go and rest. Go and rest. Bye-bye. Bye, viewers. Bye, masterminds. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.